Hello everyone, Gebatron here. In this guide we are going to learn all about how the commander orders work in Hell Let Loose. I'm playing on a PC, so I'll be saying things like hit the M key to bring up the map, but of course it will be a little different if you're using a controller. Feel free to leave comments with more controller specifics to help out the console crowd. Also, these orders get rebalanced from time to time, and the devs have said that they will be adding more in the future, so just be aware of that if you're watching this in the future. In order to access commander orders, you need to be the commander. You can become the commander by clicking on this little plus sign here in the deployment screen. There is only one commander per team, so you will not be able to become the commander if someone else has already taken the role. Once you're ready, select a spawn point and spawn in. Once spawned in, you'll be able to access your commander orders by clicking the M key to bring up the map. All of the different commander orders are here on the right hand side, and they are grouped by resource. Not all the orders are immediately visible. You'll have to place your cursor in the section you want and scroll up and down to see all of them. From the top down, we start with orders that consume the manpower resource. Next, the munitions resource. And at the bottom, we have orders that consume fuel. If we take a quick look at the top of our map, we can see our current available resources, followed by how much of those resources we are gaining per minute. This gain per minute can be increased by having your team build resource nodes, but that is a topic for another video. Check out the top right to learn more about resources. You'll also notice that at the beginning of the match, all of the orders are on cooldown. They will become available after they go through their respective cooldown times. Let's start from the top and move down. First up is Establish Airhead. If we hover over it, we'll read, airdrops a temporary team spawn at the selected location. Click on it and the Airhead icon pops up in the center of our map. Now you can click anywhere on the map to place it. However, you cannot drop an Airhead in locked enemy territory. In this case, rows 9 through 10. You also cannot place it on top of structures. We can place it in unlocked enemy territory and anywhere in friendly territory regardless if it's locked or not. You'll notice the map turns green when we can place it and yellowish where we cannot. Airheads are almost always used as a way to get behind enemy lines, but can sometimes be used as a last-ditch effort on the defensive. We'll drop it here for the sake of this video. Once placed where you want it, click on the radio set here to confirm the order. The Airhead takes 1 minute from the time you confirm to when it lands and becomes available for spawning. It has a 10-minute cooldown before you can call it in again. It costs 400 manpower. You earn 50 XP for calling in an Airhead. Airheads have a 30-second spawn timer and stay available for 3 minutes, assuming the enemy doesn't lock them by coming within 15 meters or destroy them. So if you can keep it clear, it's available for a few spawn waves. These are airdrops, which means they are highly visible to the enemy. If you want to learn more about what planes are associated with these airdrops and the differences between the different factions' air assets, then check out the videos at the top right. I'll also link to all these videos in the description. Moving on, we have Dismantle Garrison. This immediately dismantles a friendly garrison. As we learn in this video here, there is currently an 8 garrison limit per team. Situations may rise during a match where you have hit that 8 garrison limit and need new, better placed garrisons built. In order to do this, old garrisons must be dismantled. This order allows you to dismantle any friendly garrison remotely. Simply click the order, then click whatever garrison you wish to dismantle and confirm the order. The officer who built the garrison you dismantle will receive an alert that you have taken one of their garrisons down. Dismantle Garrison has a 5-minute cooldown and costs 100 manpower. You do not receive any XP for using this order. Reinforce temporarily increases the capture power of all sector strongpoints in a friendly controlled sector. To understand this, we first need to understand how the map is broken down. Each map in Hell Let Loose has 5 zones. Zones are every 2 map columns or rows depending on map orientation. Each of these zones contains 3 sectors. A sector is every 2 by 2 grid squares. Each sector contains a potential strongpoint. During a warfare mode match, every soldier inside the active sector has a cap weight of 1. Every soldier inside the strong point has a cap weight of 3. The reinforce order doubles that, so every friendly soldier inside the strong point will carry a cap weight of 6. Click on Reinforce, then click the sector you are currently defending. In this case, this is the only sector we can place it in. The map will turn green when placed in the correct sector. The Reinforce effect lasts for 2 minutes, perfect for helping win a cap race. It costs 200 manpower and has a 5-minute cooldown. You get 50 XP for using this order. Note here that for an offensive mode match, players have to be inside the strong point to capture, unlike Warfare where you just have to be inside the sector. Reinforce can be a little confusing, so make sure to ask any questions you may have in the comments. Notice the indicator bars here. The one around the order itself indicates how long the order lasts, or its effect lasts. You can see this on the map too. The one under the order indicates cooldown time. Encouraged. Sectors will temporarily generate more resources when captured. The language used here is a bit of a holdover from the way it used to be, as individual sectors used to grant you unique resources, but now every team has a base passive income of 30 resources per minute. What Encouraged does is double that base income for 5 minutes. That's your income before nodes are factored in. So if your team has built one set of nodes and your income across the board is plus 40 per minute, using Encouraged will not give you a gain of plus 80 per minute. It only doubles your base resource gain. Encouraged is a passive order, meaning you do not place it on the map. It has a 5-minute effect, 10-minute cooldown, and is pretty expensive, costing 400 manpower. Keep in mind that 300 of that cost is recouped at the end of your 5 minutes. You gain 50 XP for using this order. Final Stand. Your team will not lose any resources for a short time. It has a 10-minute cooldown and costs 200 manpower. By using this order, you will be able to use any other commander order without it costing you any resources for a duration of 1 minute, as long as you have the sufficient amount of resources required for that order. Let me clarify. If you do not have enough resources to use an order, it will be grayed out and unavailable, just like established Airhead currently is, because it requires 400 manpower, while we only have 258 manpower. However, we currently have enough manpower to call in Reinforce. When I confirm Final Stand, you'll see we lose the ability to call in Reinforce. This is because we spent 200 manpower on Final Stand, depleting our manpower down to only 58. So while Final Stand makes the other orders not cost anything, it doesn't also make them free. That being said, if we were to convert resources and gain enough back by doing so, then these orders would become available again. So here's another quick example using some math. If you have 500 manpower and call in Final Stand, it drops you to 300, and Airhead is now unavailable, even though it is free. You may be able to convert fuel and munitions into manpower to give you a free 120 additional manpower, bringing your total up to 420 manpower. The Airhead would then become available and we could call it in without losing 400 manpower. We'll cover conversions shortly. Final Stand also makes friendly deaths not cost any manpower for that 1 minute. You get 50 XP for using this order. Final Stand is a passive order. Use this when you have a large amount of orders available and want to call in a lot of support for no cost. Like I said, it works great for conversions, so let's move on to those. At the bottom of each of the orders section, there will be a couple tabs under where it says Resources. These two tabs are used to convert one resource to another. They are also passive. Our first one says Generate Fuel. We can spend 100 manpower to gain 60 fuel. The one below it allows us to spend 100 manpower to generate 60 munitions. These orders have a 5-minute cooldown and are perfect if you have an abundance of one resource but are lacking in another. You do not receive any XP for converting resources. That's all for manpower. Let's move on to orders that use the munitions resource. First up is supply drop. A plane flies over and drops a crate of supplies via parachute. Simply place the icon where you want on the map and confirm the order. An airdrop contains 100 supplies, which is perfect for building offensive garrisons, but supply drops can be placed absolutely anywhere on the map. Remember that supply trucks cannot drop supplies in the HQ zone, so this is a good way to get a large amount of supplies in your first zone. It takes about 1 minute 10 seconds from the time you call it in to when it hits the ground and becomes available for building. It costs 50 munitions and only has a 2-minute cooldown, so you'll see these frequently. You get 50 XP for calling these in. Be careful though, as supply drops are just as visible to the enemy as they are to you. Check this video here to learn more about the differences in each faction's air assets. Next is the Recon Plane. This calls in a Recon Plane to briefly surveil the battlefield. Recon Planes can be placed anywhere on the map, and you can change their approach angle by clicking the center of the on-map icon. This order has a 5-minute cooldown and costs 150 munitions. You gain 50 XP for calling this in. Enemy soldiers detected will show up as small red dots, enemy armor as solid diamonds, and enemy trucks as hollow diamonds. These enemy marks are static, meaning they don't report enemy movement, just where the enemy was when detected, like a photograph. The dots and diamonds don't move. The detected enemy marks are only visible to friendly officers and players playing the support role, so make sure to mark enemy troop concentrations for friendlies. Recon planes do not detect enemy spawn points, nodes, or other player-built structures. They also do not detect enemy recon squads, and it is possible to hide from recon planes. Watch this video to learn more about how to do that. Next, the Strafing Run calls in a Strafing Run to a designated location, effective against infantry. The Strafing Run can be placed anywhere on the map, and its approach angle can be changed by clicking the icon. They come in very fast and have a 4-minute cooldown and cost 150 munitions. You get 75 XP for calling this in. They are ineffective against armor, but will do some damage to trucks and are effective against infantry, especially if you can catch them clustered up. This next order is different for the Soviets than it is for Germany and the US. We'll talk about the US and German bombing runs first. The bombing run is placed anywhere on the map, and the angle can be changed by clicking on the icon. It takes longer to show up than the Strafing Run, but is absolutely devastating to the enemy. It obliterates both enemy and friendly soldiers in the open. Same with trucks. They can also destroy enemy garrisons, OPs, nodes, and repair stations, but do not destroy enemy defensive structures. I tried testing to see if it damaged armor, and after about 5 attempts I was unable to damage any armor. So while I suppose it's possible, it's definitely not a good use of resources or time to even try. Bombing runs have a 10-minute cooldown and cost 300 munitions. You gain 100 XP for calling this in. For the Soviets here, we get the Katyusha rocket strike. The Katyusha is an off-map call-in that is more of an area weapon, while the bombing run is more precise. You can place it anywhere on the map. It takes about 30 seconds from when you confirm the order to when the first rocket hits. So while the bombing run is more precise, the Katyusha strike only has a 5-minute cooldown, so you can call it in twice as frequently. It does a good job of keeping the enemy's heads down and can destroy the same things as the bombing run. You gain 100 XP for calling in the Katyusha rocket strike. Then below that we have our conversions again, only here you will be spending munitions to gain either fuel or manpower. But other than that, they work the same exact way as the ones before. Moving on to the orders that use fuel. The fuel orders are all vehicle spawns except for the conversions. Each faction has different vehicles here with different costs and different cooldown times, so I'll just list those off, but how those vehicles are spawned in all work the same, so that is what we'll look at here. Vehicles can only be spawned into friendly HQs. Click the vehicle you wish to spawn in, then click the HQ sector you wish to spawn it in at. The map will turn greenish when it's in the correct spot. Once spawned in, a new vehicle will not be able to be spawned into the same HQ until the previous vehicle has been moved. Someone will either have to move it or you'll have to use a different HQ. Some vehicles will spawn automatically and are not included in your orders, such as the light tanks. At the time of recording, these automatically spawned vehicles do not cost fuel. You do not receive any XP for spawning in vehicles. There is a 12 vehicle limit per team. Those 12 vehicles can be any combination of vehicles, i.e. you can have all 12 supply trucks if you want, but then you will also not have any armor and vice versa. I've seen a lot of commanders who didn't understand why they weren't able to spawn in new vehicles, even when they had enough resources, and this was the reason. Then at the bottom, once again, we have our conversions. As with all orders, if you lack the resources to call them in, the order will be grayed out and you will be unable to use them. And remember, the devs have said that they will be adding more orders in the future and more vehicles, so expect some changes and rebalancing to take place at some point. Special thanks to Game Punch members Get Puke and Big Red for helping me gather information for this video. That's it. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments so I can address it as soon as possible. I hope you are all enjoying the content, and welcome to all the new console players out there. Make sure to subscribe for more and give this video a like if you learned something, as it really does help out. There are plenty of links in the description if you'd like to help support the channel in other ways, and don't forget to check out the Game Punch Gaming community links down there too. Thanks again, and see you on the battlefield.